Hello there. This is not a game. We are about to lose personal sovereignty over our own bodies. As per usual, please like, subscribe and comment below. And when subscribing, please do press that little bell, but also select the all option or you won't get any notifications when I publish a new video. Over the last few days, we've seen that draconian new laws are to be passed in Austria and Greece. Laws that will take away personal autonomy where certain medical procedures are concerned. And now it's confirmed that the German government has sent its non-compliant people back to their homes and will be voting in the coming days on whether or not to follow the lead of Austria and Greece. Far-reaching stuff. And up until recently in the UK, this sort of thing was considered a red line. But while all this is going on, we find stories everywhere in the UK press about President Macron of France calling the UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson a clown and a knucklehead, as well as copious confusion over what the new pandemic rules actually mean for the people of England, with debate about such things as what does the need to socialise actually mean, and do we gather in groups of 4 and 5 and go snogging under the mistletoe? Or something like that anyway. And as I've pointed out over the last few days, the PM Boris Johnson has not even spoken about or questioned the Austrian or Greek decisions, let alone condemned them as breaching human rights. In fact, what we suddenly do have is a new strain on the horizon, and the establishment goes into overdrive, despite all news outlets reporting that the effects of this are somewhere between mild and zero. But restrictions are instantly imposed, and the usual suspects are lining up to demand ever more distance between what we viewed as normal 2 years ago and what they want to see in our new normal. But it's not just a Boris Johnson silence on this matter that should concern us. How about Sajid Javid? What does he think? How about all the other ministers both inside and outside the health ministry? And why nothing on this from our scientific officers? Then, as I've pointed out before, there's also not a peep from our usually very voluble First Ministers, especially the Scottish First Minister Nicola Sturgeon. Why all the silence? And this matter should concern the First Minister of Northern Ireland very deeply, because Northern Ireland is inside the EU single market and tied by an open border to the Republic of Ireland, which is in the EU, of course. And Ursula von der Leyen said yesterday that she wanted to lead the discussion about mandating these things across the whole European Union. So, if the EU goes down the route to making these procedures compulsory, then without any say in the matter, people in Northern Ireland might find themselves bound by those rules too, courtesy of the withdrawal agreement and the Northern Ireland Protocol. Why is no one else talking about this? Have the Cabinet Office, Foreign Office and Home Office clocked this one? Has the Northern Ireland Select Committee and its chair, Tory MP Simon Hoare, picked up on this important angle yet? Actually, I think I might drop him a line tomorrow to get his thoughts on it. And I reckon the answer is yes, they do know, but with the view being let's all stay stum on it. And this is not just a one-off situation. The boss of one of the big pharma companies involved has confirmed that this is an annual procedure. And look at how much the UK government and governments around the world have spent on filling warehouses with stockpiles for the future. They are thinking years hence. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist to work out that any compulsion and the carrying of associated paperwork would be a permanent thing. It would also be a permanent policy with scope for extensive mission creep into all areas of our lives. All just to keep us safe, you understand. Leading to many people saying they didn't realise that, or that they didn't sign up to that. Well, all I can say is you haven't been listening properly. Anyway, which EU politicians have come out against this proposed mandate? None, as far as I can tell. So what does that tell you? The obvious is the answer. One point to bear in mind, emergency use is covered by the laws put in place here, and one big one in the UK is set to expire on March the 24th next year. At that point, emergency use may also expire, but I'm not sure on that one. But if that is so, we might see a new law being pushed through, or an Act of Parliament being passed to extend the current one. And that will be a big indicator of where we're going on all of this. Now, 2 months ago, Boris did have a go at Joe Biden trying to force the whole US down this path, when Boris said Biden should just use sweet reason to persuade people to take it. But ever since then, Boris has been ominously quiet about the whole subject, especially since he's ended up making it mandatory on pain of sacking for care home staff and NHS staff. And that was when the ratchet was put in place in the UK. How hard would it be to expand that out further in the future? So what are the general options for the UK? Well, the first is that the EU Commission is unable to pull this one off EU-wide, and it ends up being left to individual member states to decide. Well, the question there is, how could a two-tier EU with a divided free movement Schengen zone continue to exist, if it's mandated in some member states but not in others? It surely has to be the same for all or not at all. Surely people won't put up with the concept that you're free to move about at will, but you have to take the procedure and carry your papers to do it. Really? That would really show a totalitarian side to this. But if they did go down that route and a sizable number of member states decided compulsion was the way ahead, then the rest would probably cave in too in time. And for the UK it would hinge on the Republic of Ireland. If Dublin mandated it, then the Good Friday Agreement and the Northern Ireland Protocol would be used as leverage to force Westminster to make Northern Ireland comply as well. And as Northern Ireland is an integral part of the UK, then the rest of the UK could possibly be forced in too. So if Dublin thought it could have the support of its people, I think the Irish government are likely to be an early adopter of this policy. Then comes the question of which medical products, made by which companies, and whose health papers database would we all be expected to use. And this would give the Westminster government a hard choice. Does it put a hard border down the Irish Sea to stop non-compliant people travelling from Great Britain into Northern Ireland? Or accept the mandate UK-wide? Because international outrage would follow any attempt to put a medical border across Ireland, wouldn't it? As a result of this, I'm now looking at the very short-lived triggering of Article 16 by the EU Commission earlier in the year to stop files of the stuff going north over the internal Irish border, and I'm viewing that in a completely new light. Do you remember that? Well, the UK complained and stopped it, but the argument would now be that the whole island of Ireland must do the same thing regarding where this aspect of health is concerned. That border cannot now be a border with respect to that. Now, there are many people who will be overjoyed at the prospect of everyone being in the same boat, carrying the same paperwork that makes them feel safe. But many, many others, whether or not they comply, will be horrified at the stripping away of a person's rights over their own body. You only have to look at the newspaper column comment sections and social media to see that. And this is not a matter you could put to a referendum. A. There's not enough time. B. What would they do if they got the wrong answer again? And C. A result the other way has the distinct prospect of anarchy about it. And for those that say, what about seatbelts and motorbike helmets? I say, those are not welded physically to me, and I don't have to wear them when walking down the street or while sat at my desk. Anyway, in truth, I'm not sure it matters which side of that divide you're on. I think it's coming. I see it not as a matter of if, but as a matter of when and how. And for those of you who think that human rights law will be a help in stopping this encroachment into our civil liberties, then you must have missed that Boris Johnson has set his Justice Secretary Dominic Raab the task of rewriting our human rights in the form of a new UK Bill of Rights. The opportunities for wordsmithing and inserting get-out clauses and backdoor routes to amending those rights will be immense, something I've talked about previously. Now, I'm not saying that we don't need to change those laws to take account of the situation in the English Channel. All I'm saying is keep your beady eyes on them. And don't pay too much attention to the headline-grabbing spat between Boris and Macron. They'll be talking closely together about other things that are happening, be in no doubt, and probably in much more cordial, collegiate terms, especially on the matter of enforcing a mandate. And now to some good news. You may have heard that the former Brexit negotiator for the EU Commission, Michel Barnier, was vying to become the new President of France, with elections due in April next year. But he could only manage third place in his party's runoff to choose their candidate. So he's now officially out of the running. He'll just have to get in line for the next EU junket job when the Brussels gravy train comes around again. And now a final thought. In the book 1984, there was a place called the Ministry of Truth, which was anything but. And when looking at our ministries of education and health, I definitely see parallels with that concept, don't you? So what do you think about where the UK is headed on this mandating business? Please like and comment below.